Hi, Kelly. All right. Got your post up here. Thank you so much for kicking things off. That's not always the easiest thing to do, so great job there. Let's go ahead and jump in, shall we? I think this composition is outstanding. I really think you've done a wonderful job. Technical proficiency is as good as, if not better than anything I've seen at this point while teaching the class. So you're really right in there in terms of showing what you've learned and adhering to the project specifications while adding other things that you've learned on your own. And that's fantastic. That's what it's all about. Good job showing your masking. You're set at 8 by 10 at 300 PPI. That's fantastic. You've got your background layer, which is gorgeous. You've got your production layer that, I'm not that I'm seeing the production layer, but presumably you've created a production layer and deleted it, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. And you use that production layer to create the shadow. So that's fantastic. Excuse me. And you've added your type. It's just really great work here. Okay, a few things I would recommend in the composition. All right, so the type is really difficult to read. Plus, the type is actually off the page on the right and left hand side. So I would consider, now don't forget, we've got all those type tutorials that you can really do some super interesting things with. So I would recommend enhancing the type a little bit. This typeface is really difficult to read. Plus, the gradient associated with it is making it almost impossible to read. So I would definitely recommend working with your type there. Maybe even consider a type on a path, maybe a semicircle or something like that. And definitely really want to push the type, your knowledge of Photoshop type effects to its limit here. I think that's really going to make this stand apart from where it's at now. Okay, a couple of other recommendations. That's in the long shadow indicating the sky, the light source, the sun is very, very low in the sky. So the light source right now is coming out at about 1 o'clock on the clock, right? But I'm going to just zoom in to the ducks or the geese, and we want to see that those not quite as consistent. Okay, this one, for example, is sitting in front of the duck, indicating a light source coming from behind. All right, so that's not a consistent shadow. These ones are, all of these shadows should be lying above and to the left, about 1 o'clock on the clock. Okay, so they should all be following the same angle as the shadow from the main focal point of the composition, that being your caricature. So you'll want to work those shadows. Also, those shadows seem like they should be a little bit longer as again, matching the angle of the shadow from the main caricature. Okay, the addition of the butterfly and especially the squirrel tucked up in it. I love that squirrel up there, but he's a little hard to see. I would recommend that you put a adjustment layer on him. Making him a little bit more visible. Also, he's facing away from the composition, which kind of adds an unusual visual tension. I would recommend turning him around so he's looking into the composition instead of out of the composition. I think that might create a little more visual interest. This is great. This garden that's added is fantastic. So this also got the drop shadow, so that's just wonderful work right there. All right. My only recommendation, further than what I've already mentioned, is the arms. And the reason I say, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. The reason I say that is because the arms are just lost in the composition. You can't see them. A little bit of white over here on the trunk of the tree. That looks like a mistake. You may want to clone that out. The arms are just basically not there, as we can see. It's just really invisible. I would recommend adding something, other elements, maybe branches or something, to enhance those, make those arms and hands a little more visible. The watermelon has a little bit of a perspective change than that of the flower. So we can change that simply by selecting the watermelon, and I'll just command click that to select it. I'm going to go to edit, and let's go to transform, and we'll go to the perspective tool. And then we're just going to kind of change the perspective on that a little bit. Okay, that changed. Now you can see that smile is actually, let's just go ahead and rotate that just a bit. There we go. Oh, looking great. Okay, now that perspective is now matching that of the flower, so that's working right there. Okay, other than that, you're just right in there. Really fantastic job. So those are my recommendations moving forward. If you have any questions at all, please go ahead and ask me, and I'll be glad to address anything that comes up. Great job. Thank you very much.